It's different than a supergroup because it's still Clay doing all the music. It's just all these different guest collaborators, and you're in for a crazy ride when Jim freaking Thirlwell of Fetus introduces the whole damn thing.
Here it is, my life. My pain now lays before your feet.
Now that I've played Argyle Park and some of the collaborations on there, he got to work with Jim Thirlwell, which to me is that's awesome. The guy is just a legend in this genre of music, and I still consider some of his '80s stuff some of the best out there.
So with that in mind, I greet you into a reality of nothingness and bitter dark, and welcome you to my home of escape, my refuge, Argyle Park.
Buka and I were kind of joking one day, saying, oh, it'd be fun to do this little project thing. And for me, it was more about just hanging out with my friend.
With Argyle Park, it kind of started off as somewhat of a joke. Somehow, Clay and I started talking about doing a song, started to talk about like a project possibly that the two of us can do together, where he can do something different from Circle of Dust and kind of go out there and kind of go a little bit out of the norm. Keep Circle of Dust the way it is, but have this project that can be anything we want it to be.
Stay put and keep calm. What's up? You're always in my face. You've never shown me love. I've never felt your grace. Understand? Leave me alone.
Argyle Park, Misguided. This album is near and dear to my heart for a number of reasons. This is the album that I did with my friend Buka. And this is the album this is the first album that I was able to quit my day job and go full-time music, although I thought I was going to do this album and then have to go get a job. I worked until I couldn't keep my eyes open, and I'd crawl back up to my bed and collapse. And I'd wake up after maybe 4 or 5 hours of sleep, staring at the ceiling with the ideas of how I needed to continue that track, and I'd get right back to work. And although that sounds like maybe too much work for some people, to me it was like that was my life. That's all I wanted to do. I was so excited that I didn't have to actually go put gas in my car to drive to a job. I just had to walk down a flight of stairs, and I was in heaven.
He would come over to my place, and we would sit there and eat food and sample things and watch things and try to find sounds, and it became like this quest for some reason. Just like when we were younger, with like digging for CDs and trying to find new music that way, it now translated over to finding sounds and samples and trying to really push the envelope and find that obscure thing that we can actually that he would be able to build a song off of, like a one sample, like this is cool, I want to use this, and then it becomes a whole different song.
What Buka is, he's not a musician, he doesn't play any instruments, but he's an idea man, and he would listen to things, and we were very passionate about music, and oftentimes the same music.
I loved that time of just, because I would sit at home watching TV with my cassette deck on, ready to go, and then I'd hear something and I'd record it, and I would build about 10, 15 minutes of samples on a cassette. And the quality is horrible, but still. And then I'd go over and be like, hey, Clay, listen to this.
He would take these long train rides into the city, and he'd be listening to music, and I'd get these phone calls all day long. All right, I got this idea.
I lost track. Oh, all stuff like that, and all of a sudden it'd be like, girl, and static, feedback, screams, like from out of nowhere. Right. All this kind of crap just comes in, and then, still that, that basically be throughout the whole entire song, I guess. Mm-hmm. And then, I don't know, that's what I thought of.
Oh, that's it?
I guess. And then
where does it go from there?
More techno.
Oh, okay.
What do you think?
Sounds good to me. I mean, you just wrote the song yourself right there. What do you need me for?
Argyle Park was cool, and it was an experience because I got to work with guys like Tommy Victor from Prong and my friend Mark Solomon, who was the singer of this band, The Crucified, that I really dug. And we had played a lot of shows together. The guys in Mortal, another like industrial band at the time, Chatterbox, Jeff Ballou, who I ended up going on to produce his album in '94. I think I produced his album first, actually, before Argyle Park. and guys from Drown, and there was a roster, Jim Thirlwell from Fetus, a revolving roster of people on that album that also was liberating for me, because I didn't have the responsibility of doing every single vocal and coming up with every single idea and every lyric, although I did come up with a fair amount of them.